Tonight we will go deep into the realm of the unknown and question everything as we search for the truth. We will explore the possibility of countless phenomena within the ultra spectrum, and together we will learn that it is all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association, and it is a live stream broadcast. If you have a question, send me a super chat or become a YouTube member. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. Take a seat, relax, get ready, and welcome to Beyond the TinFoil Hat.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the TinFoil Hat. My name is Ryan Stacey. Today is Thursday, February 16th, 2023, and I am your host this evening. I'm a licensed private investigator, a citizen journalist, and the director of investigations for the Experiencers Support Association. Welcome to the channel, and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm going to skip through all that other stuff because I've said it already, and we're just going to get this party started. Our guest for Season 5, Episode 3 is Maria Martinez. Sensitivity trainer. Maria specializes in helping entrepreneurs grow their revenue, create systems, have more balance, experience more freedom, and fearlessly step into the best version of themselves. Maria's healing work utilizes high vibrational consciousness, celestial light language, sacred geometry, light tones, Christ consciousness, angelic and galactic frequencies for your transformation and accelerated ascension. Her credentials include Ayurvedic practitioner, clinical support, medical hypnotherapy, and natal interlife, past life regression, clinical hypnotherapy, quantum energy alchemist, human potential activator, wealth consciousness activator, intuitive revenue accelerator consultant, podcast and radio host, author, and speaker. I thought I had a lot of titles. So Maria is an ancient soul who has created to usher humanity. She's an ancient soul who was created to usher humanity into their awakening so that they can assess their full human divine potential and live essentially easily as their supernatural self. Maria works with several galactic beings. Her purpose is to weave the galaxies into a unity consciousness, help keep the balance, protect humanity, and empower them to evolve, ascend, and assess the upper dimensions. She must be so powerful that she wasn't. That's the reason why we had technical difficulties today. This makes sense. Her passion is to help beautiful beings know themselves, reconnect to their divine truth, reconnect to their full potential, empower and joyful, express their soul's mission, manifest success, true wealth, abundance, and prosperity. She finds great joy in manifesting and bridging the fifth dimension into the third dimension. She runs her successful business under her 360 Prosperity brand for business coaching, corporate consulting, business lending, marketing, and brand strategy. So you can learn more by going to www.360prosperity.com, and the link is in the description below. And I think I have her link tree here in the banner. So Maria, put on your tinfoil hat. We are about to go down a rabbit hole. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am great. Sorry about all that. I'm glad we figured it out and you're here.
Yes, my pleasure. It was going to happen.
No, it's okay. It's all good. And thank you, Chris, for filling the seat for a little bit while we got this working. So I wasn't able to explain to you how the show works, so we're just gonna wing it here. Due to the technical difficulties, but we're going to start with an icebreaker question. So this is a question that goes that's given to both of us. You can answer it, and then I'll answer it, and then we'll see where that goes. And then from there, we'll see what happens. Okay. So I'm just going to play a little video here. All right, so tonight's icebreaker is brought to us by our support group, Experiencers Anonymous. Our next meeting is Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. So next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find the Zoom link on our website, or you can also go to this link here, which I'll put in the comments below. So our question is, what or who is God to you?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, that's a very powerful question. So it's energy, is consciousness, is wisdom, is intelligence, is unconditional love. It's is source, is divine power, divine will, divine love, and so much more. It's creation. It's the life force within us. The energy that vibrates through all our essence and all who we are.
From alpha to omega, I guess, right? Taking that saying literally. For me, God is, I'm not sure, but I know God exists. I know there is I believe in a higher power. And I'm still trying to understand if this energy, as you mentioned too, is literally the entity that we call God or spirit or source, or a effect or result caused by and this is a reaction to God's will, I guess, in a sense. So that is a great icebreaker question. My follow-up question is usually, why are you the way that you are? And what I mean by that is walk me through how you got to here. Like, where did this start for you? And as far back as you wanted to go, and let's just walk me through your life that led you up to this person that I just read this bio for, and we'll see where this goes.
Yeah. So who I am, or how all of this began, is that since a child, as far as I can remember, I was very in tune with light and energy and beings that were not visible to other people. So I started my connection, I guess, with Source from very early on. I was seeing my angels, I was seeing guides, I was seeing people that were passing on, people that were about to pass on, whether they were close or across the world or in a different country. I was getting messages from the other side or the beyond. I was interacting. I was actually doing healings, working with my guides and my angels. So this, excuse me, just a second.
No worries.
So this journey for me began very early on. And it sort of stayed with me for several years, as I continued to kind of play in that field of consciousness.
She disappeared. Oh my God. Hi, Chris. You're muted. She disappeared.
Hello.
Oh, there she is. She's back. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Hi.
We'll
get through this.
Yes, we'll get through this. So for me, it began very early on, where I was already in tune with what was beyond the veil, by visiting with my angels, visiting with God, even Jesus Christ, walking, having conversations with Mother Mary. But at the time, I really didn't know who they were. At the time, I didn't even know that I was having conversations with spirits, with other souls, with other beings that were not of this world. And that continued for many years until my parents discovered that I had these gifts. They weren't surprised, because there's a generation, my grandfather, my grandmother, they were all very attuned to their gifts. They were all healers. So they weren't surprised, but they were a little bit concerned that I was so young, didn't have tools. So they asked me not to share that I was able to see, I was able to heal, that they didn't want, I guess they didn't want people to ask for my help if I wasn't properly prepared in their eyes. So I kind of kept it hidden for some time, but it never went away. They was always there. I always received visitors, sometimes visitors that I didn't want to receive, like demons and other type of lower vibrational entities. and even aliens. So when I went to college, I guess the being alone and being in a new place really amplified that, where I started finding myself in different dimensions. I was doing a lot of astral travel. I was, not even in meditation, and in just different dimensions would open up, portals would open up, beings would come in into my little tiny room in college, and it just became very distracting. It began to interfere with my 3D world and my purpose being in college. So I came home and I told my mom about it, and she said, "Well, I guess it's time. It's time to help you really, harness and hone in your skills." So we got a mentor for me, and it was a friend of ours who was a shaman, and she began to help me um, kind of have some command over when I was going to access my gifts and when I was going to shut the door. And so that began my journey. And I practiced it for quite some time, but I lost some of that when I went into corporate America, because I was very focused on competition. I was very focused on doing and proving myself. So I lost some of that connection, and I noticed it even more after. So I got married, and during my marriage, I could really see that I was disconnected with that part of myself. So during my marriage and toward the end of my marriage, I started really coming back to myself, because I was really finding that there was an imbalance, not just in my spirit, but also in my body. It was really manifesting in my body with autoimmune, with inflammation, just not feeling well overall. And then at that point, I really decided, and that was in 2014, that it was time for me to come back and really align myself with my mission, which was to express my gifts, help others, support others, activate others. And I made that choice. So after leaving corporate America, after going through my divorce, and really kind of picking up the pieces of that and finding myself again, and really taking on and committing to fully embracing my mission here on earth. And here we are.
No,
It was just a beautiful, beautiful progress after that, and evolution after that. Synchronicities, activations. My grandparents passed when I was in college, but they continuously came back to work with me, to activate, do healings, bring in, help me access higher states of wisdom, and kind of help me guide me into this direction. And even now, they still show up and direct me and activate and help me move forward.
That's fascinating. That's like you right from the very beginning. It's almost like it's just normal. Nothing happened. You were just born that way, and it just seemed normal. And then throughout your whole life, you were just kind of learning ways to comprehend it and understand it. And then now you're empowering and whatnot. A lot of things mentioned in that bio, so I kind of want to break some of these things down. What is high vibrational consciousness as opposed to normal consciousness, and how does that compare to Christ consciousness?
So there are different states of consciousness, and we get into different states of consciousness through our thoughts, our feelings, and our beingness. So joy is a state of consciousness. Anger is a state of consciousness. So they're different. Joy is a higher state of consciousness than anger. So when we get into different states of consciousness, we're moving into alignment, into Christ consciousness, into source light energy. When we're in despair, when we're in anger, when we're in frustration, it's like we're running around with like our head cut off, like not really finding focus and direction. But when we move into joy and peace and self-acceptance and forgiveness, when we move into those higher states of consciousness, we're really allowing ourselves to come in connection with our soul, with our spirit, with becoming more heart-centered. And that allows also our awareness to expand. It allows us to be more of the observer. It allows us to see how we show up in the world, and how we create, how we reflect out to the world, in how we impact and influence the world around us. So when we choose to not know, it's a state of consciousness. We're choosing not to know where we are. We're choosing not to do our practice. We're choosing just to kind of go day to day. When we choose to come into that stillness, when we choose to allow ourselves to open, allow our higher senses to open to the divine, or even to just vibration or consciousness or universe, we're amplifying that awareness and that channel, and we're actually allowing ourselves to access that universal knowledge that is there available to all of us. And that elevates who we are. That elevates our vibration. It elevates our states of consciousness. And in doing so, we are becoming like a beacon. We're becoming like a place where others can come and connect with and feel inspired. And even simply by connecting, they begin to heal. They become they become to experience that possibility for themselves. Now, Christ consciousness is like source energy, is source knowing. It's the unity consciousness that we're striving to align with. It's that all-knowing self. It's that knowing universe that we're coming into that awareness that is true peace, true alignment. And you can access it through meditation. You can access it to coming into stillness. You can access it through just being, coming into the self and connecting with unconditional love, connecting with peace and joy and loving kindness. And when you come into the space, you actually notice a difference in your mind. It becomes very calm. It becomes more open. Your nervous system starts to calm down. When you come into the space in your heart, you feel your heart opening up. You're able to access more joy for yourself and even forgiveness, because forgiveness is something that many of us practice. But when we can be in that space of true surrender, then we can access that beautiful Christ consciousness that is, again, it's true source energy. It's divine love.
It's beautiful. So is it when you say Christ consciousness, is that specific to a belief in Christian religion, or could you apply any deity name to that?
Yeah, not necessarily to any religion.
Okay.
It's for me, it's that term, and it could be applied for whatever your beliefs are. But it's really that infinite state of love that is divine love that you can access, that allows true healing to happen, that allows the activation of your soul and allows the activation of your spirit, that allows you to really embody the truth, the authenticity of who you are, which is divine light. And we can access that through many practices, through different types of meditations. There are different practices across different belief systems or religions.
Coming back to the icebreaker question, which you answered perfectly, when you mentioned that God, is that source, and this explanation explains, reinforces why that belief is there. So, but you mentioned that we are also that. So are we God beings or children of God? Like, what is your opinion of that?
So at the end, how I will answer that is we're both. We are God within us. We are the individuation of God. We're also creation of God. So we are children of God. And when I teach about the practice of being and the practice of embodying, so I don't differentiate between God, source, and universe. I actually use the terms together. When I say embody, source, God, universe, it's all, to me, is the same. Is that higher power. Now, sometimes I say it's the God of your understanding or the higher power of your understanding. And in doing so, what we're doing is we're opening up to that knowing that we are creation and we are divine perfection. And that in that creation, we were created from that reflection of source, of universe. So we are that reflection. And if we are that reflection and we're created from the same source, from the same light, then we are God within us.
Okay. Perfect. Beautiful. What about light language? What is celestial light language?
Light language, the way it comes in it's in colors and in tones, and sometimes it has images. So light language is a frequency that often has a color, a tone, or a symbol that comes in during a session, during transformation, during an activation. And it comes in and integrates into the field that we're working with, the field of possibility or the healing that we're bringing in. And the way it comes in, or its intention is really to activate and to help heal and upgrade and align the person that I'm usually working with, whether it's an individual or a group. And it's different every single time. At least for me, it's different every single time. And also it comes from different sources. Sometimes it's pure light language from source energy. And again, sometimes for me, depending what we're working on, because sometimes we're working with the masculine and the feminine, and we're balancing the masculine and the feminine. Sometimes source or cosmic universe may show up as a masculine energy, not necessarily a figure, but a masculine energy can feel into that, or a feminine energy, and you can feel into that. So sometimes it may come from source or the divine feminine or the divine masculine. Sometimes it may come from the ascended masters, like Jesus or Mother Mary or Melchizedek or Saint Germain or Metatron. Or sometimes it may come from just the general goddesses, like the energy vibration of the goddesses, like Shakti and Parvati, or the Arcturians or the Pleiadians. So it's always different, but when it comes through, I share what it is, and then I share what they're doing, what the purpose of the light language is, what they're doing in that instance. And again, it varies every single time, but we do have the translation of it when it comes through.
Okay. So what does this feel like when it comes through? Can you elaborate more on that? Because
Yeah,
as an experience.
yes, I can do. I don't do demonstrations, but it's actually coming in for the experience that I can share with you what's coming in. Inayato kushima ku inayati tishtiki iti inayato niamakuti ashaya tata tishti itiki nikiti anako o at ut initishtikia onama wata ut adatashti niyata she u na sha moko ut utishia nakasha mawaya shia taka niyato shiawaya tata shaya. So the way it comes in, again, it has an intention. And the intention for this was to create more ease, to create more peace, to create more expansion. We did have some technical issues, so those were some interferences that came in to clear those interferences that we were experiencing earlier. But it was also to come in and to make connections for everybody to feel connected and to feel the experience of moving into the space of light and love. So light language is light and is love and is healing.
So when that happened on cue, in a sense, like was that was information coming in that you were just expressing? And while you were expressing it in real time, were you able to understand and comprehend what that meant? Because to me, that was all French to me. But to you, in the moment, while you were saying it, you could understand it and translate it in English?
Yes. So the way it comes in for me, I can start hearing, especially on the right side, and I can start hearing the sound, the vibration. Then I can start hearing the tone of it. Okay. So then it comes through me, and I can understand what the intention is and what the activation is, what's happening, so I can translate it. So it's not a direct translation of they said this, but it's the translation of this is what they were doing, this was their intention, and this is what it means. It means love and unconditional love and connection and bringing peace and expansion and clearing the space for possibility and clearing the space for allowing.
Okay. Fascinating. Fancy. Okay, so my other question was light tones, but I guess that's the same thing, right? Or similar?
Light tones could be just sound. They may sound like when that comes in, it's the actual letters are HE. So it sounds like They come in again, and often what I first see is the sound of it, the letters connected to it, and then that's the tone that comes through, and then it changes to something broader or something more fine. You can have a high pitch or a low pitch. And again, it's the intention is it's what it's trying to activate in the vibration of the group or the person that I'm working with. And sometimes it comes in because this is the way that it comes in to create that necessarily shift. So if the mind is getting in the way, or they're over analyzing, or they're not able to drop into the heart, sometimes that comes in to remove that hook, to clear that top layer that is there, to kind of move them out of the space where they're just creating a resistance, so that they can drop down into the vibration that it's intended. And they're very healing as well.
Okay, so light as in energy, not as in light like a feather. Or both.
Light, lights, and energy, but the result is they feel light.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so it's got a double meaning. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. We got a few minutes before we head to our break, so let's dive into, because we're talking about frequencies and sounds and tones, like it's all connected in the sense of that spectrum. But then, like, is it God or is it us? Like, where, like, or as you mentioned before, it's both. So like it's really easy to get confused in that. So when you are experiencing this, it's source for you, right?
Yes, for me, it's source, because what I realize from a lot of my sessions is that a lot of information that comes through, I have no awareness of it or no recollection of it. It's information that's completely new to me. It's not something I studied, something I read, or something that I could make up because I have no connection to it. So, this has been happening for a very long time. Or when I'm giving information about the person that's in front of me, that otherwise I don't know that person, so there's no way for me to know that information. So I know that I'm allowing myself to be open. And what I really call myself, after all those titles, is really a channel of source and light and energy. So I create a space, we co-create a space really, for the transformation, for the healing, for those shifts to happen. And in that space, it's like a container, it's like a channel, it's like a vessel, where we're allowing that information to come through. And we are the mind, the ego is actually getting out of the way and allowing that space for whatever wants to come through. And when we allow that space, when we're unattached to what it should look like or whatever wants to come through, then beautiful, amazing, miraculous, incredible things happen.
Now, could it be your higher self?
Our higher self is part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Our higher self, when I connect to somebody else and when we're working, that's who we're really allowing the guidance. We're really allowing the higher self to guide the process. The higher self allows us and gives us permission to work with each other. So if I'm working with somebody as a client, the higher self, we ask permission to the higher self. It's okay if it's okay for us to work together. Is it okay for me to access your energy? Is it okay for me to access whatever I'm meant to access, whether it's the Akashic records or the timelines or the past lives? So we're asking for permission, and the guidance is being given by the higher self. But the higher self is the direct individuation of source. So ultimately it is source energy that is guiding the process.
Okay. And the process is the act of receiving the information and
integrating and healing and allowing it and being open to it, and integrating it into the multidimensional bodies.
Are these tones that you're hearing internal or external that you're then receiving inside?
They come externally first, and then they come internal. So as I mentioned, I see them coming in through the right, and then coming into my awareness, into my ear, and then I can see them in the center of my head, and then I can repeat them.
And when you see them, that you fit, like you're seeing colors.
Colors, symbols, codes. Sometimes they look like music tones, but they're more complex, more intricate.
Does
And
that
they have,
sorry, go ahead. I just had
oh, I
another.
was just going to say, yeah, sometimes they have color and they're vibrating as they come in. Sometimes there's a lot of light, and sometimes they actually come in as mandalas,
Right.
or sometimes it's just like a beautiful swirl of colors that comes in.
Right.
So it varies. It's not specific to, one symbol or one image.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand how it works,
Mhm.
because like other people have explained some things like that to me too, and I'm trying to comprehend how that works. But like I also, on the risk side of things, have you, like, if that experience happens where you're visually seeing something that's in another space in real time,
Mhm.
has that ever happened while you're, like, say, driving a vehicle or doing something that
Yes.
might get in the way? So what is that like? Like, how do you
Yeah.
cope with that?
Yeah. So it doesn't get in the way, by the way. I mentioned that in college, multi-dimensions would open. So it's like very similar to that. So it's like driving, and then a little window opens, and then I can see what's happening through that window, but I'm still, focused on what's in front of me. I'm just kind of noticing that this is happening over here. So it
Mhm.
doesn't really interfere. Um,
It'd just be an interesting, explanation for distracted driving, like, so.
What's interesting about that is that we often go into a trance when we drive, especially if it's a long drive and we know the drive, and we know the way, and it's something that we do on a regular basis. And especially if we're tired, we'll get on the road and we just get in the car and we turn it on and we go.
Mhm.
And we're not really thinking about driving, we're
Mhm.
thinking about other things. So we get into that trance. So that's very normal for us to be in trance.
Mhm.
Uh, but to be intentionally in trance, it's when you get into that, when you start accessing information, you start accessing um, other dimensions, you start accessing other ways of bringing in information.
Okay. We have a question from Dan Jones. He says, I'm occasionally woken by sounds that nothing in my house could make. They don't sound like anything I've ever heard. Could I be getting some kind of message from another realm?
Mm. Yeah, I can tune in, Dan, and take a look.
All right, cool.
So you actually have a portal in your house. Um, Through that portal, and that it's not rare for us to find portals in different, especially if we can see them in homes, in different places. And you have one, and there's a lot of activity there. It doesn't seem like a lot comes through, but it is open. At the moment, it doesn't seem malicious. It just seems like someone is trying to communicate with you. So it's really at this point is choice if you want to keep that portal open. Some people become curious about what's there and just allow it to be open, but sometimes we get into trouble that way, because when we keep it open, we're actually inviting things in that may not be in the highest good. Yeah, so you have, I see a masculine figure, a young, like a child. Actually, it's two masculine figures. They're different ages, like a young child, um, another older person, like in their like late 30s, and then you have a much older person. And I'm saying people, but only the child looks like he's human. The other ones are not human.
Hmm.
And again, it just looks like the portal is open, so they're trying to come through. Um,
Interesting.
so what
Dan,
would Dan like to do?
yeah, Dan, if you could, because we got to go to our commercial break, but if you could put in the comments, we can pick up after the commercial here. Does that information resonate to something that you know, because you know your house? So I'm curious to know on that. So we're going to pause right here, and we'll continue after a message from our professional partners. If you are listening to the audio only replay, head over to youtube.com/the Experiencer Support Association to see the video that goes with this audio. This includes the after chat where I share Tessa updates and talk about current investigations that I'm working on. And tonight I'm going to be talking about America's UFO problem. Okay. So remember, you are listening to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, a podcast by the Experiencer Support Association, and we will be right back. Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
Business. It's your property. Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. Go to blacklightiss.com.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. Have you ever experienced an unexplained event involving paranormal, UFOs, extraterrestrial, dogman, or any other paracryptid? Head over to experiencersupport.org and click the purple button on the top right corner and click Submit a Report. The more reports we get, the more we will understand this phenomenon and how it affects your people. Let the others who have already reported be that example that proves we are making a difference. And if it wasn't for these reports, we would not be able to do what we do. And for that, we thank you. All right, Maria. That went fast because we were a little bit delayed there, but we're gonna keep going through. Dan had said, what did he say here? Where's his comment? He said, "Thank you. It makes sense, especially the child." So, Dan, I'd throw back to you to elaborate a little bit more. Like this child, how is that in relation to? Like, how does that child make sense to you? I want to know more about that. And he also said, I've had a sighting of a young girl in my home, about 5 years old, wearing a white sweater. Okay, well, there we go. I just got my answer. And he continues to say, my home was built on property that was once generations of farming. I cannot find any documented history about this area that may explain activity. Yeah, he says, keep reading. Yeah, I should have done that first. Sorry, pal. Yeah, so there's some validation there. That's interesting. So you were able to see that where you are instantly. And I know Dan. And I know you don't know Dan. So for me, that was fascinating. And that's how it happens all the time?
Yes.
Interesting. Has it ever happened in such a way that has been negative? Has it been bad? Or is it all good?
So I heard most of your question. In terms of tuning in, so everything is energy. So you really you can turn into the energy of the person, the home, and then you can see everything that is there. In terms of the portals, yes, they could be something negative depending what's coming through, what's being accessed. And the portals could be a door, it could be a mirror, it could be a window. When I was younger, actually my parents still have the house, they still own the house. My closet door was a portal, and a lot of beings would come through there. Some of them were not so nice. Some of them were just very beastly type of entities that were coming in, especially to scare me because I was very young, and sort of taunt me that I wasn't, that there was no one there to help me. So we closed the portal. We closed the portal because I knew that other beings of the beings of light don't really need a portal to come through. They can just come.
That sounds concerning though. If they can just
come
through.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I did hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, yes, just a little bit of a delay, I guess now. So is there possible for dark beings to come through, or is it only light that works that way?
No, like I mentioned, usually light beings do not need a portal to come through. They can just come through because they're light.
All right.
But dark beings often can come in, and dark beings can come in as through a portal. They can attach to different people. They're kind of deceptive in that way, where they'll assume an invitation by attaching themselves to somebody else or to objects. Or again, if a portal's open, whether it was already open or somebody opened it unintentionally, sometimes trauma can open a portal. So they come in through that portal. And they feed on, especially when there's trauma, they can feed on that trauma of like despair and sadness and grief and anger. And they can invite other entities to come through that portal. Or it leaves the space open for other entities to come in. And they can be very disruptive to your health, to your mind, especially if you are very sensitive, if you have sensitivity to energy, or if your abilities are open, like your ability to hear, your ability to see. It can be very disruptive and even very scary if you don't have any tools to manage through all of that.
Interesting. And I would agree with that. So we've talked about light language.
And there's a way to clear, by the way.
There's a way to clear, you said? So you cut out there.
Yes. So uh, we can close those portals. I mean, people have different ways of closing them, and I close them, with intention and with source energy and light, and we just close the portal and we seal it so nothing else can come through. We can also clear the attachments that have come through. We send them back to source. And often when I'm doing that, Archangel Michael will come in and support with that, or other beings of light will come in and help clear the space, by taking them to the next level of ascension, or just clearing the space, bringing in more light and grounding the area. So the question that Dan had about the not having a lot of information about the land can be grounded. His house can be grounded. And what that means is that we are clearing the space and bringing everything into peace, ease, and grace to allow whatever is around there to rest, to be at peace, and also again to prevent anything else from coming in through those portals. Portals can also exist in people.
Okay.
Because entities and attachments can attach to different organs as well, different body parts. So there could be portals in a person, like in their, especially in where the chakras are. They can be in the chakras or attached to the chakras or to the organs connected to the chakras. So we can we move them, clear them out, and bring everything back into balance.
Interesting. It's like metaphysical, getting into that. Yeah. Okay, so we talked about light language. We talked about light tones. Another thing that you mentioned, was mentioned in your bio, was angelic galactic frequencies. So I'm curious to know if that's different, because to me it kind of sounds more so some of the same, but it might be different. What is that?
Yeah. The frequencies can show up very differently, and sometimes they can show up as a chamber, meaning that it actually looks like a chamber, and it could have lots of light in it, or it could have crystals in it, or it could be just a white space. And when the person is placed into the chamber, then they're accessing that frequency, that galactic frequency. That frequency comes with that galactic being, let's say Arcturians or Pleiadians, or Lyrians or Syrians that are coming in to do healing. They'll bring that frequency, or they'll allow the person to access that frequency. It kind of looks like a Merkaba as well, like a beautiful energy that's surrounding the individual that has different colors and different vibration, even some different symbols, or it may have symbols as well. And when that person is placed into it, then they're able to access that frequency from the galactic being that is facilitating that process, or that healing, or that activation.
Fascinating. Interesting. Okay. So you mentioned earlier too that you were, I guess, to sum it all up, channeling is more so the bracket, I guess, if we to encompass all of these things that you do. How do you feel about remote viewing, and is that similar to channeling, or is that different? Like, what do you think on that?
That's actually what I did when I looked at his house, remote viewing.
Yeah.
So to me, everything's really the same, right? It's source, it's universe, it's vibration, it's consciousness. So when you can tap into the consciousness of something, or the vibration of something that you can clearly see, you can actually walk through somebody else's house, which is I often do when I'm looking to see if there are any spirits in the house, or any entities, or any portals. Or it's like also like bilocating. You can be there with that person and walk around their field and look at their field, look at their auric field, or look at their chakras, or examine their physical body or their organ systems. So to me, remote viewing, a psychic medium, intuition, energy, it's the same, because it can be accessed. All of it can be accessed by tapping into the consciousness of it, the vibration of it.
How would you explain? Now, I get these things, and I understand the confusion between these different terms and ideologies, but we all have this common goal with it's all positive, which is good. How would you simplify all of this into like a single term, I guess, or a single explanation? How would you do that for someone who might not get all of these different subcategories that interconnect? Does that make sense?
Yes. So I would say that we're all vibration and we are consciousness. So to tap into the consciousness of, or you can tap into the consciousness of every living thing or being. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it remote viewing. You can call it psychic medium. You can call it my intuition. But you're tapping into the consciousness, whether it's a high level of consciousness or a low level of consciousness. But you're tapping into, and you're getting information. You're getting information of, you're getting the thoughts, the emotions, you're getting images, you're getting a location, you're getting sound. So it gives you all of that information if you're able to tap into the consciousness of whatever the object is, or the person, or the place, or thing.
Now, with your experience, it appears that you were born this way, where there are some experiencers that what we call activated, I guess, later in life. In your opinion, is this something we're all born with and just some don't get activated? Or is this activation some sort of a selection from divine? Is it human? Is, like how
so we all
around that?
We all have the capacity, but some of us come in awake and some of us come in asleep, and we later activate ourselves if it's part of our journey or part of our mission. So we're all really able to tap into all of our gifts, all of them, whether it's our third eye, whether it's our crown chakra, our ability to download information, or sensitivity, or ability to sense and feel.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. There was a bit of a delay there. Oh, where'd she? She disappeared there. I'll just wait for her to come back. I'll, what do we got here? Lisa says, I see too much coming through my portal in my closet. Oh, there she goes. Let's see here if she popped back in. Oh, I don't know. She's gone again. The energy is really strong, and this is frustrating with the frequency because the topic is so fascinating. And you're back. Woo! There's got to be. Are you feeling strong energy over on your end? Like, are you causing this? Because we've never had this much interference, and it's interesting.
Not intentionally, but I am trying to ground everybody so that we can have.
You're just too powerful. You're too powerful. Okay, so continuing on to that, then I guess you mentioned the Akashic record. So for those who don't know what that is, what are those, and how do you access them, and how could someone else access them if they chose to, that's never accessed them before?
Yeah, so your Akashic records, or what you might call your book of life, that has the information of the many lifetimes that you've chosen and the lessons that you're learning. And they can be accessed by connecting to your Akashic record keeper. That can be accessed through meditation, or through a guided meditation, through intention. And especially if your channel's already open, if your crown chakra's already open, or your third eye is already open, or your sensitivity is already open, you can just sit in meditation and intend to connect to your Akashic record. I wouldn't say it's really difficult. It's more about surrendering into the space to receive that information and to connect to your guide. Your Akashic record keeper is one of your guides, and then they can give you access to your book, which we in some of my sessions will go and connect to the Akashic record, especially if we're clearing karma, or we're healing past lives, if we are integrating past lives experiences and lessons. We'll access the Akashic records to complete. So basically, we're closing that chapter of those stories, those books, those journeys, and then we write a new story. So it's also like quantum leaping. We'll quantum leap into a new timeline, and then the person is given the opportunity to write what they truly desire into their book. And then they start working with their Kesha record keeper, with their guides, to manifest the next level of themselves.
Are these books?
So again, anybody really can access it. Again, through meditation, through intention, through the process of sitting there and connecting.
Are these books already written, or can we alter them, alter the text?
Oh, absolutely. They can be altered. They're not, your future is not necessarily written per se. And the past can also be changed, especially if you're working through clear karma. Clear karma. So this book, we say that there are multiple timelines and you're living many lives at once. So that's kind of what your book is about. You have many different lessons that you're going through, many learnings that you intended for your evolution. So when you access your book, and you integrated a lesson or you integrated a learning, then you can reset that so you're not experiencing that same lesson moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a completion. So that's how you reset the future, and that's how you complete the past. You're no longer living in struggle or lack or scarcity, whatever that karmic imprint is, whatever you're carrying over from other lifetimes, whatever incomplete lessons you have from other lifetimes.
It's interesting how you describe that. A separate theory that might not be connected to that, so I apologize in advance. But if we're able to change the past, and that must have a feeling, I feel like, and when that actually happens, when things shift, and I kind of always imagined, or at least my understanding with this deja vu phenomenon, where we've revisited something like that. But could that also be something along the lines of what you've just described, and in that moment we've just changed something? Does that make sense? Oh, can you hear me?
So when we can go back to the past, yes. So when we're able to go back to the past, we're actually looking at the story. So when we go into a past life experience, we're looking at, what did I decide in that lifetime, and what was my life, and what am I still carrying on? So we look at sort of what the learning that we didn't get, or the decisions that we made. So let's say that as healers, we were persecuted in another lifetime. And at the end of that life, we decided we're not going to do this again. We're not going to pursue a mission. We're not going to be visible. And now let's say in this lifetime, we're trying to be visible. In this lifetime, we want to truly express ourselves, and we want to embrace our mission and our purpose. So when we go back to heal those past lives, then we bring awakening and wisdom to that part of ourselves. And we change the way we felt during that lifetime. We bring completion, we bring peace, we bring healing. So that changes the way we left that lifetime and the experience of that lifetime. And we also complete that lesson, and we integrate it so we no longer have to experience it here. So we are changing by bringing in the healing to that lifetime, and by bringing in the higher wisdom that it's part of the journey, it's part of our evolution, but it doesn't change your spirit or our soul. And when we're able to see from that higher perspective, then we're able to separate that fear of being seen, the fear of being persecuted, the need to hide, and we're able to access our power, step into our power, step into our visibility. So we release the entanglement from that lifetime, we've healed that lifetime, and now we can start anew. It's like creating a new clean slate here. So we're also changing the future.
That sounds draining, though. That sounds like a lot of energy that is used in order to shift it that way. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's not a lot. Actually, it can happen very quickly. that process happens really quickly. It can happen in a few minutes where you're able to just open up all your timelines, look at what's happening, look at the lessons, look at the decisions that you made, and then bring light, love, and healing into access, have that part of yourself access the wisdom of your higher self, awaken to the truth of your higher self, of source, of universe, and have that part of you integrate, that it's not, that the spirit and soul is not diminished, and that they can choose happiness and completion, and then come back into this lifetime and integrate that I am freedom, or I am love, and then choose in this lifetime to move forward with accepting your true mission and purpose. So it actually doesn't take a lot of energy, physical or light energy, and that transformation, that shift can happen very quickly. It's more of the explanation that seems a little bit lengthy. The experience is actually happens very quickly.
Interesting. What about?
I want to answer your question.
Yeah, go ahead. There's just a bit of a delay.
Yeah, you asked me a question earlier about, do we all have these gifts? And the answer is yes.
Okay.
We all have the gifts. We all have the gifts available to us. Our ability to connect to source, download information. We all have our ability to open up our third eye. We all have the ability to access all parts of ourselves, our intuition. But part of the journey is to awaken to that. Some of us choose to come in fully awake. I would, in my coming in, choosing this lifetime, I chose to come in fully awake. But there are others to choose to awaken later in life. But anybody really, if they choose to, can sit down, whether it's with, a guided meditation or a healer or an activator, and activate their third eye, activate their crown chakra, activate their intuition, activate their ability to feel, sense energy, or read energy. They can activate the ability to hear the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions of others. So they're all available to us. I just wanted to make sure I expressed that.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. This is so. Where are we drawing this from? Is it interdimensionally? Is it the ether? Like where is there a place that they reside while we
abilities are. So our abilities come, and that's who we draw the information. Like I said, consciousness, infinite consciousness, infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom. That's where we're able to access that information. Whether we access it through our crown chakra, whether we access it through the center of our head or knowing, whether we access it through our ears, inner ear or outer ear. But that's where we access, again, if we're tapping into the consciousness, the infinite wisdom that's already available, that's universal, that is cosmic, that it's infinite intelligence, and it is really available to everyone. It's just whether or not you're doing the practice to connect to that, whether or not you're doing the practice to fine tune and expand your awareness of yourself and your abilities, and unlock your abilities to perceive, to know more than what is physical or what's available here, and then stepping into accessing the 5D and beyond.
Actually, I'm gonna skip to that one because that's something I wanted to talk to you about. Because how would help me understand this 5D world in this 3-dimensional world? Because you said that's one of the things that was mentioned too, is that you're able to bring that down, right?
Yeah, that's really what I was talking about, is that when you can access, let's say that you want to create something in the world, and the way to create it is to be more than yourself, is to access it from the divine. So the way to bring that forth, whether it's innovation, whether it's an invention, whether it's a new technology, is to access your crown chakra. And then you're able to access that through. We're all elevating, we're all ascending, we're all transforming, we're all moving into a higher state of consciousness. and every day and every moment, the more we learn about ourselves, the more we learn about what's available out there, the more we learn about energy and vibration and consciousness, we're elevating. So we're accessing more of that higher dimensions. And the idea of accessing or the, you know, the part that allows you to manifest from the 5D is to access that creativity, to access what you see beyond, and then manifest it, bring it into the 3D. And what that means is that, you know, when you have a vision, when you have, you know, amazing dreams, it's all in the 5D. You're in the, you know, you're in the emotions, you're in the vision of it, you're in the bliss of it. To bring it into the 3D is to take action. To bring it into the 3D is to be in alignment, with your mission, your purpose, to drive forward, to take, you know, to take guided action and massive action. So a lot of what I find, especially with the healers, is that we spend a lot of time in the 5D because it feels so good to be there. So it feels good to connect to angels, to our guides, to source, to universe. But then we're having trouble manifesting in the world, sustaining, you know, the life that we desire financially. So there's a disconnect there.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is to live from this place, but live here in the 3D because this is where we are. And that means embodying our true selves. And that is also accessing the lower chakras, to be in overflow, to be in sufficiency, to show up in the world and be visible, to create an impact, to take action, deliberate action, and be very intentional about what we're doing, and to be focused and clear about what we're creating. So we're no longer just living over here in the magical place. Now we're very intentional about what those steps are, and we're taking every step necessary, but we're doing it with lots of joy. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a have to or a must do, when we can access the 5D and the joy of being in the 5D, and we can see the potential and the possibilities. We release the fear about the future, and we release the worries and the concerns, and we move into certainty. And in that certainty, we feel very excited about moving forward. We feel very excited about taking action. We feel very excited about creating. So we're creating every single day. Every single day is a new possibility. Every single day is an opportunity. So we're bringing the imagination. We're bringing everything that is creative. We're bringing passion, and we're bringing it into form. We're bringing all the ideas, and we're manifesting into a structure, whether it's a new business, whether it's a new course, whether it's a new message or a new technology. And so that's the bridge. And through that, we're also monetizing our value and our self-worth. So we're creating the lifestyle that we desire. We're creating being in sufficiency, being in abundance, being in overflow. We're creating being supported by the divine. We're creating our life by design. Does that make sense, Ryan?
Yeah, no, it does. It sounds so complex, but yet so simple. And there is a lot of, you know, negative thought that does happen that gets in the way. But if you can completely focus on the positive, and you know, change your way of thinking, it does that law of attraction. Like, I know there's evidence of that. I've experienced that myself in small doses. But we can literally change the world if we didn't have any of these distractions in the world, which, in my experience, where I'm encountering is a lot of people that are confused with these abilities that they have, not knowing that they're gifted, or not knowing what exactly is happening, because they're naturally just doing what you're described. You're comfortable with it. You've lived through it. You've talked to people to learn it. You've honed your skill, if you will. You know, so do you have anything comforting to kind of maybe suggest to those that maybe who have listened to all of this, relate to you, but didn't realize that they're part of this, and how, you know, help them through that?
You know, so living from the 5D is not just for the healers or the spiritual people, or, you know, those that are spiritual teachers. it's really for everyone, because when we get an idea, it comes from it comes from source, it comes from universe. So to bring that idea into manifestation, it requires embracing it, first of all. It requires allowing the ego and allowing the fear to move out of the way, or to embrace the fear, develop a different relationship with fear. It also requires action. So there is an alignment that happens, even if it's not a full, alignment with source energy, as a healer. But there is an alignment that happens when you receive an idea, because that idea also has energy. It wants to take shape and form. So let's say that somebody gets an idea to create a new business. So that idea wants to have life and energy and wants to contribute. If that person doesn't take action on it, that idea is going to find its way to somebody else, because it wants to have shape and form. It wants to contribute. It wants to serve. And we can think about many examples where there's a new product and somebody said, "Hey, I thought about that," or there's a new technology and say, "Hey, I thought about that." And it's possible that that idea came to them first, but they didn't act on it. They didn't do anything with it. So that energy of the idea, that vibration of that idea found its way to somebody else that was ready to take action. So again, we can all bridge the 5D with the 3D, because it's about the creativity, and it's about the ideas, and it's about inspiration, and it's about being in that space of possibility, and then taking all of that and doing something with it, and creating, whether it's creating a plan, where it's creating action, where it's talking about it, whether it's looking for partnerships about it, whether it's, again, moving it forward and bringing it into life and giving it shape and form. So we're manifesting it. And again, that energy of that idea also works with us. It begins to attract, again, because it wants to serve, it wants to contribute, it wants to take shape and form, it wants to, the word that is coming is, it wants to live. It wants, and it's an independent, because it's an entity.
Okay. This is deep. This is good. So you earlier too, you mentioned past life regression. And I know that through reading your bio as well that you also practice in hypnotherapy. So is past life regression an action through hypnotherapy, or are they separate?
Well, it's through hypnotherapy, but you can also access it through meditation. So hypnotherapy is really allowing you to go into the space where you're allowing your unconscious and subconscious mind to open up and give you information. Because there's the intellect that wants to analyze, there's the ego that wants to get in the way, that resists. But when you get into a state of trance, or a state of calm, a deep state of surrender, then you can access information that's in your unconscious mind, that it's available to you. Or you can access information that it's in your spirit, in the spiritual memories, in the DNA of the spirit. So we can access it through that. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. If we're taking the individual through the experience of connecting and finding what's there and learning the lessons, then they can go through the process of hypnotherapy. Otherwise, we can access the timelines and just gather information. We can open up the timelines and look at the different lifetimes that they lived and what the lessons were connected to the lifetimes. So it can be accessed either way. Their past lives can be accessed either way.
Okay. Now, the paranormal spectrum, do you consider everything we've just talked about part of that category, or is this separate? Oh.
So if you're referring to ghosts and spirits and stuff like that, because everything is consciousness to me. I don't really kind of differentiate one from the other. Even extraterrestrials, for me, their consciousness, they're beings that come in and have some kind of purpose, whether it's in the highest good or not in the highest good, but they're there. You can access that, especially if they want to be seen, or they want to be heard, or they have a purpose, or they have an intention. They can make themselves known and visible. So in terms of the paranormal, I kind of since it's visible to me it's all the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's exactly why I asked.
I don't really make a distinction of one and the other.
Well, the term paranormal simply just means not normal, and then that's also an umbrella term to describe all the things we talk about, not just in this episode, but all the episodes too. And that kind of comes back to the whole confusion thing where I mentioned paranormal. Oh, she disappeared. You still there? I mentioned paranormal, but then you assumed I meant just ghosts and spirit, and part of that is the stigmatism that comes in, or the propaganda that comes in with programming to silo a specific spectrum there. So I guess in the root of it all is we have the ability to do a whole bunch of powerful things.
There was a little bit.
Sorry? There's a delay. The frequency, there's another delay here.
There was a little bit of delay, Ryan. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm feeling it on my end
I didn't
too.
catch the last thing you mentioned.
It's okay. We'll just move on to the next part. So tell me more about these beings, because you mentioned through all of this that you've also seen extraterrestrials. So are these galactic beings that you're referring to, or what do these beings look like? I'm curious to know.
Okay, so the extraterrestrials that I've seen, some of them are maybe what other people have seen, that kind of gray, kind of big head, long arms. Other ones kind of look humanoid, that they're usually taller. Well, actually, I've seen some that are shorter than me, and 5'2", but some humanoid, some features are slightly different. Like if you watch Star Trek, some of the beings look like them. They're like kind of reptilian, or like very small noses, almost invisible, or no nose at all. Some of them communicate in telepathy. Blues, they can be blues or grays, and the galactic beings, they're usually very tall. The Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Lyrian Syrians, and they're more like, I mean, you can see kind of their image and their figure, but they're more translucent, they're more light. They come in different colors, like the sort of, you're noticing the aura around them, like blues and yellows and a little bit of orange and red. And there's a difference in their experience. You can feel the lightness of the galactic beings, the celestial beings, and you can feel more of the density of the ETs that or at least the ones that I've experienced. I can feel the density, and they're actually, the skin is more dense, so they're not translucent, where the galactic beings are more translucent.
Mm-hmm.
And the galactic beings are kind of angelic, like the image of the angelic beings. They don't have feathers or wings. The angels usually have wings, but the galactic beings, they come in again, this really beautiful lightness about them. You can feel the state of consciousness that they're in, like joy and happiness, that you can experience their divine power. You can experience it around you. So you can feel the difference in the vibration as one entity comes in versus the other. Also, with the extraterrestrials that experience, and the ones that we cleared out of the bodies of others, often their shape is more shadowy. like they're hiding or like they don't want to be seen, so they're they're crouching. So these are entity attachments like reptilians or Anunnakis or draconians or archons. They they don't show their true shape per se. They're like hidden or in disguise, or they kind of have a filter in front of them because they're trying to avoid being removed or being expelled from the bodies. So that's the difference in terms of how I've seen them and how they've shown up in my experience and with people that I've worked with.
Thank you for that. And to come back to
some of the
there's a delay. Just go ahead. Continue.
I was just going to say that some of the extraterrestrials, yeah. So I was going to say, so some of the extraterrestrials that come in, sometimes they are curious. They just want to communicate. They're interested in what you're doing. They just want to learn. But others have an intention, whether it's to siphon energy, whether it's to invade your space, whether it's create distraction, whether it's suppression, domination, control. So again, there's different intention behind that, and I'm sure you've experienced differently because there's so many extraterrestrials out there. There's so many that interferes with the spirit, with the mind, with the physical body, with the energy.
Yeah, and Dan has a question, but I'm not going to ask this question yet because I have a similar question. And you might answer both at the same time. Back to what we were talking about before. Are these beings, in your opinion, are they God, or do they draw from source just like we do?
Yeah, they draw from source just like we do. They're just very highly evolved, very elevated. Their vibration is much higher than ours. And they're here to support humanity. They're here to help heal some humanity or awaken humanity or activate, especially those that have a mission, that are here, that are elevating just humanity and mass consciousness. So they're here as support beings. Like they can be part of your divine team, your God team. They can be your guides. They can show up in healings, but they are source energy. They're the individuation as well, but they're much higher vibration than we are.
Okay. Okay, so then Dan had asked, do star seeds leave their own world to reincarnate here on Earth? Any thoughts on that?
Oh, yes, many of them do. Many of them do for the human experience. Many of them do for their evolution. Like many of us are incarnated, and many of us have had an experience as a star seed in a different galaxy. Many of us have had even other experience as even angels and celestial beings. So we incarnate for the lessons and the learnings and the evolution, or to humanity. There's just many different purposes why we come and reincarnate, whether it's for our own purpose or for the purpose to evolve humanity, to support humanity, and to help humanity ascend. So the answer is yes.
Okay, thank you. It happened to me this time. I don't know what happened there. That was on my okay, so we have about 12 minutes left before we end the show. I have your website or your link tree queued here. So why don't we go through that, and you can let everybody know how to find you. Is there anything specific that you want me to share first?
Yeah, really my website, 360 Prosperity. If you have any questions, if you want to learn more about consciousness or about prosperity, about money mindset, or about hypnotherapy, you can come to my website. You can see the different things that are available. The core of what I do is activating. So activating your potential, helping you embody your truth which is your gifts and your talents, and helping you create balance in your life. Again, embodying the 5D and having access to that, but also manifesting in this world. So my website will give you a lot of information of options in terms of how you can do that, or how you can step to the next best level or next evolution of yourself.
Great. Is there anything specific?
And you can also contact me on my website.
Perfect.
If you want more information, if you want to be part of my newsletter.
And you also have Facebook, Instagram?
Also, if you want to set up a session, let's say, and nothing really specific here, it's just, it's more about what it's available. It's information and how to connect with me, how to work with me one-on-one, which is the link to working with me. And if you are interested in activating your wealth consciousness, then you can look at wealth consciousness as well. If you're interested in activating your gifts, you can look at unleashing your superpowers. For the women that want to embody their divine goddess and really work the divine feminine and their creativity and access their passion and also monetize that, then we have Unleash the Goddess Within. So just several different programs here that you can access, that you can learn more about.
Tell me about your podcast.
Yeah, my podcast is called Divine Human. And I interview different spiritual people that are making a difference in the world. We talk about their journey. We talk about their gifts and how they're sharing the gifts and the impact and the change and the transformation that they're creating in the world. And the goal of the podcast is really to create awakening, to bring education, to bring information about different ways and different perspectives about the world, to help open up the mind to new possibilities, and also help you, if you choose to, access more of your own gifts and talents. So the podcast, who we bring on are both men and women who are already expressing their gifts and already expressing their divine uniqueness. So we share their experience, we share their journey, and we share a process. So if you're interested in knowing how do I overcome fear, or how do I manage through the pain, or how do I heal sadness and grief, there are different topics in the podcast that you can access, and each one of my podcasts has a process that you can experience.
Great. So I just put a couple of links in the comments there for you guys as well, if you guys want to check that out. Awesome. Okay. Well, final thoughts. What do you want to leave everybody with today? This has been a great conversation. I'm so glad we were able to work through this technical challenge, but we made it.
Yes, we made it. So the final thoughts that I want to share with everybody are, you're all beautiful divine beings of light. However you're expressing yourself, you're divinely unique. And there's a beautiful light within you, a beautiful extraordinary code within you that wants to express itself. So I suggest and I encourage you to connect to that divine uniqueness that's already available to you, that's already within you. Find the peace within, light within, to express it and embrace your totality, your wholeness, and really create the life that you desire, and live life fully now. Live life with joy and with happiness. And know that you have the power as a manifester, as a divine creator, to design your life in the way that you want to live your life, in a way that it works for you. And everything, all the answers are within you. So I'd like to leave everybody with that as a knowing, as an encouragement, as an activation, and also letting you know that obviously we're here, and you know that we're not alone. There are so many beings out there that are here to learn about us, but others are here to help us ascend, to help us evolve, to help us succeed in life. we are creation, and through that creation, we have the divine right to happiness, to joy, to prosperity, to abundance, and to health. So we get to choose it every single day and embrace that. Beautiful.
That is beautiful. And we're going to end it. We're going to end it right there. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this conversation. Everybody in the chat is saying thank you. Everybody, it's time to go, unless you're interested in hearing some of the latest updates from the Experiencer Support Association, or if you want to pick my brain a bit about some of my ongoing investigations. So if so, stick around for the after chat. If you're listening to the audio only replay, your show ends here. And you'll need to head over to youtube.com/Experiencer Support Association just so you can see the video that goes with this audio. And if you want to follow my work, you can find me on Facebook and Twitter. So thank you again, Maria. And we'll be in touch. Okay.
Thank you, Ryan.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone. It was my pleasure. Lots of love to everybody. Beautiful energy. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching, everybody. Keep your eyes in the sky and heed the world.
That's it, everybody. That is a wrap. That is the end of it all. Thank you for joining me tonight. I look forward to seeing you back next week, where we'll continue to have this conversation deep down into the rabbit hole in which we call the Ultra Spectrum. Thanks for joining us. I said that already. Oh well, fuck it. Heed the world.
Everybody, welcome to the after chat. It's just me. Maybe Chris, give me a thumbs up. Do you want to come in? You want to get you made it this far? Give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, do something. No, thumbs down, of course. We'll talk about that tomorrow. All right. He's laughing in the back. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to start by just keeping the pump going here and say hello to everybody. Logan, I see you in the chat. Awesome. Thanks for joining us tonight. Lisa, thank you. And also thank you for being willing to step in case our guest wasn't able to connect. And I'm so glad she did, though. That was just a beautiful conversation. Angela, good to see you. Dan, of course, I think I already said hi to you. No, I haven't said hi to you, but I know you're here because we were asking questions, but thank you so much for being here. And a shout out to Chris, who is starring some of these things. It's his first time working the backstage as well. I have a special request from Logan to put in the Tide Pod. Should I bring the Tide Pod in? I'm going to bring Chris in for a second. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi. So before I get into the updates, just for context, we'll keep this going. this is your first time doing this.
Yes, it is.
This is also the first time you might have heard some of this information. So how is your brain right now? Are you
My brain is mush. My brain
right?
is mush. Yes.
Did you understand most of that?
Oh yes. Yes, I did.
And was that good for you?
Oh yes. Very.
Awesome.
It was very. I related to most of that.
Well, it's good. Well, because you're an experiencer yourself, right? No pressure. You don't have to share.
No, I am an experiencer. Yeah, there was a lot of similarities in my life that I now noticed, and yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, I won't keep you on the spot unless you want to share your experiences, because I'm sure the audience would love to.
Not today.
All right. So everyone give a round of applause for Chris. This is his first time doing this and stepping in. And props to you, man, for just winging it. So we'll chat about that,
of course,
whatnot. So, if those of you haven't seen the post yet, or are wondering, Stacey has decided to leave and go on to better things. She's created a dog sled tour company with her partner, and it got to the point where she was ready to kick it off, and she needed to focus on that. And that's where she is right now. So she has made that decision to focus on that business and everything else that she's going on. There is an offer for her to return and provide some of her supports as she used to do in the past. And I hope that she does come back, but we don't know where she's going to go. And she spent 5 years with the Experiencers Support Association. She started as a volunteer. And she did a lot of help getting everything to the getting this to the way that it is today. So for those of you who don't still have contact with Stacey, please reach out to her and let her know that she's loved and she's missed. And we hope that she does come back eventually, and we wish her well with her business. The other things I want to talk about before I talk about the UFO news, EA is next weekend or next Wednesday. We haven't really marketed it as well as we have in the past because I didn't have CC with us, and Chris is now learning how to do that back end stuff too. But we are, for those of you who do have the link, we are going to hold that meeting next Wednesday. I will be there mainly because I need to get some feedback from how it's been, so we can figure out with the group how to continue, because we also don't have CC there as the facilitator, and she's done amazing work for that. And so I will be present for that. If you don't have the link, it's not on the website as it should be. But maybe we'll be able to get it up before next Wednesday. But if you are interested in Experiencers Anonymous, send us an email. Put that in the chat here, and we'll send you the Zoom link. And we'll get you connected for that. And then, for those of you who have attended, give us some ideas of what's going on, and then we'll rebuild EA together. And maybe in the future, Chantel will come back. We don't know. So, other than that, we do have some new writers coming. I had a team call with a lady named Dawn today. She's a new writer that we're going to be publishing an article from her very soon. And I also have a meeting with another writer tomorrow to give her the crash course on the behind the scenes on how things work. And if that works out well, then we have 2 new writers that are going to be creating content. So I just want to put that out there. If anybody is interested in writing for us, Lisa, you're an author. You want to contribute to the Experiencers Support Association, send an email to admin as well, and we can get you started on the writing path. We also have a new podcast called Carencia, which I'm in the process of setting up Michael Doherty, and he will be also interviewing experiencers as well. So some of those people that have been on this show could go and be interviewed with Michael. And Michael has a different approach because Michael is an experiencer himself as well. And he wants to he wants to create that safe space, kind of like EA, but in the more public setting. And once we get him set up where we're able to make some referrals from that, some of you guys can go and be on that podcast as well. Workshops are in development. This is a huge thing. What I currently am working on with Alex Mistretta, if you guys remember him, the cryptozoologist, Maverick, the cryptozoologist, we are privately working on a way to create some events where they will be ticketed events, but he's going to educate everybody on how to be, how to be a cryptozoologist, or how to do the things that are important for research and investigations. When he does that, we'll have a true understanding of the elements that work through that and work out the kinks. He's agreed to be my guinea pig for that. And if that is successful, then I'm going to start to do the same, where I'm going to offer some workshops where I can teach you guys some investigative skills, or I can break down the ultra spectrum classification system. So those things are in development as well. Lisa, what'd you say? I'm working on 2 books, one of my experiences and one about raising butterflies. Beautiful. Awesome. And if you want to write for us too, a little teasers from that and things like that, more than welcome to do so. What else here? I was actually good and prepared some notes today. Next week's guest is Ann Hintz. I'm not sure if it's Hintz or Heinz. I'll have to get that from her, but we're going to be talking about metaphysics, insights, and near-death experiences. So that'll be our guest next Thursday. I see Chris's reaction there. Does that interest you? Is that something you like, Chris? Near-death experiences? Awesome. So that'll be our guest next week. And then that's that. So if you guys have any questions or want to talk about anything, let me know. But now I want to talk about this American UFO problem. I haven't spoken about it yet. I'm still as confused as everybody else. This is happening in real time, and developing so fast and so quickly. And I don't know what stage everybody is at, but from the Canadian perspective, we're still missing a lot of information. So a quick recap. And I don't know why Biden mentioned 3 objects today, because there's 4 in that press release. So that's a little confusing on that. We'll have to dive deep into that. We've got a lot of people working on collecting information to put the pieces together. He did announce on his press release today that he believes it to be, or the American government believes it to be, a privatized weather balloons, I suppose, and which could be very possible. And then now there's an increase of radar. Radar technology is the explanation for this uptick in sightings. There is some logical and reasonable explanations for what has gone on. However, a lot of us still believe that this is extraterrestrial. This is UFOs. These are aliens. And what I kind of want to put out there is that even though they haven't recovered the debris, and it sounds like they're giving up on the chase, there's no evidence to prove otherwise, because they really can't confirm right now, unless updates have happened since we've done this podcast. Aliens could be a possibility, but we don't really know what's going on. But the important thing to realize is that the governments were aware of these things. The governments were tracking them. And the story is that they waited until they were in a safe place before destroying them, so that way it would minimize the risk on the ground. And that makes sense, because if they are carrying a payload, you don't want to shoot that down and destroy a city or anything like that. So there is some logical explanation to the process of what's going on. Is that extraterrestrial? Is that aliens? Are they covering it up? Is it Project Bluebeam? All those things. Is this the fake alien invasion? All these things are valid questions to ask right now. But what evidence do we have to say the other? Right now, the only evidence we have is to trust what's being said by our governments, trust that they took care of it. And maybe it was implied, maybe it was fake, maybe it was intentional. All those things in consideration, we're about to have a change. So technology is going to improve. Accusations about it being China and then Russia, all these things being flown around are concerning, because I wonder what China's saying. I wonder what Russia is saying. Is there a war coming? Like, there's a lot. I'm not trying to be kind of a fear monger, but if I sound confused, it's because it is confusing. And those of us who understand has been chasing this, it still doesn't make sense. But we don't want to dive into that conspiracy rabbit hole when we don't have all the information. And I'm hoping that within the next couple days, we will have more information to talk about it. Also, is it next week or the following week? We are going to have Cheryl Costa as our guest, and she is one of the leading experts on UFOs, and she's got her nose on that too. So perhaps we can get an assessment from her, who understands American government, American all this other stuff too, to get a good true reading of what has transpired for current affairs. So that's going to be coming up too. So let me just take a look at your comments and see. I'm interested in your opinions on that too. That's just kind of an off the cuff kind of digestion. I haven't analyzed everything yet. A lot of people are reporting things all over the place and putting their 2 cents in and twisting things on assumptions. It's muddying the waters right now. But we're still missing some information from our governments to be able to look at the facts. And it kind of looks like they're calling off the searches for the debris based on the terrains and the time and the delay, because the first 72 hours are important, or first 48, mind you, in recovering these debris and things like that too. I don't know. This is we're in it. This is real. Okay, so Angela says, all started the weekend my 20 days to arrival was February 3rd, 4-5. I might need some context on that. I think you explained that earlier in the show, Angela. So if you wouldn't mind just repeating that context, that would help me here so I don't have to scroll through. Dan Jones says, dismiss the balloon and get to the other 3. Yeah, so the characteristics of that's why I got to look at the timeline of events, Dan. And so, like, Dan, I don't know if you're still with MUFON, but former MUFON Canada chum of mine, we used to work together on several cases. The description of some of these, were the size of a bus, the size of a car. The Tic Tac came up. The balloon shape came up. This octagonal shaped craft had come up. Then recently with the press release, there seemed to be some explanation that they had rockets or they had payloads or they were, there was no explanation to detail that validated these assumptions or these descriptions, mind you. It just kind of got explained away or kind of got ignored. So I'm going to have to look back at the details to find out what's kind of left. But these characteristics of this being a cylindrical shaped object, that could be a missile, a cylindrical shaped object the size of, a car or a bus, that if that's a payload, that could be a very good, very large explosion. So it's kind of a good thing that it dropped off in the water and whatnot too. Like, I mean, it also could be a weapon. It could be a UFO. It could be a craft. It could be a whole bunch of things. What's interesting about this, though, and hard to deal with, is that everything is possible right now. And it's almost like the pandemic when that started. It's a big crisis that we're working through right now. And I don't have any answers for you because the evidence is all over the place. Okay, thanks, Chris. Chris mentioned that Cheryl comes on March 2nd. Thank you, Chris. Good assist. So yeah, that's my kind of rant there. Could it be balloons? I mean, let's talk about the fact that, they were in our airspace. How do they not know that? And there's also an interesting fact that radar or the sensors that detected these were off a few days before this stuff came in. So there are, now I'm speculating that could be a coincidence. It might be deliberate. So this is where it's such a mess that these conspiracies that we've been theorizing all this time appear to be happening right now. But just because it seems that way, just because it appears to be this fake alien invasion that we were all thinking would come, doesn't mean that's actually what it is. But at the same time, it still could be. It's still fresh. And but it's interesting, very interesting. All right, painting seeds for the fake invasion. Yes, Angela, exactly. All of a sudden they can catch them. Yeah, like, I mean, Project Bluebeam, I mean, we have the evidence and we have the data to suggest it's happened or it's going to happen. It's been prophesized, but is that what's happening right now? We don't know. And what does that mean? Well, lock your doors, as one of those senators had been quoted saying, which is very interesting. I don't know if they're creating fear. The fact that we don't know what they are is also something to be concerned about. The fact that they don't know where they came from is something to be concerned about. Forget aliens. If it's Russia, if it's China, China's the biggest superpower in the world right now, has 2 times the amount of 2 times the size of an army than the United States and Canada put together. So that concerns me. Forget about aliens, so what exactly is going on? Plus it's, now it's coming into my territory, it's coming into Canada. So, what I did find interesting about Trudeau's approach too is he wanted to make clear that we didn't shoot it down. America was chasing it. America was tracking it. And then they needed to come into our airspace to take it down. So he allowed them to come through and take it down. And the emphasis is that American craft had shot them down. And that's important because if this is a war that's about to start, Canada wants to make it clear that we didn't take down China or Russia's objects. So, that's my speculation on this clusterfuck of information that we currently have right now. And I don't have my notes, but I had to say something. So I could be totally off. Might have missed a whole bunch of things, but right now, let's just wait and see what happens and try to trust the news if we can. It's hard. Try to trust some of it, but eventually I'm going to post some things into the timeline because this is a historical event nonetheless. Once I sift through, I've done freedom of information requests. We got some journalists, that is on this as well, to try and get the facts. That'll come back for the next 60 days. Like there's going to be a lot of things going on, but in the meantime, we're just going to roll with it. What else did you say, Angela? But they intentionally burn a trainload of toxic chemicals. Yes. So meanwhile, while this is happening, a few trails are being derailed. A few trains are being derailed. Sorry about that. And they have, I think, nuclear, very, very toxic chemicals that are spewing into the waters right now. I don't remember specifically where it is, but I am aware of that. And things like this happen, and then we get distracted while other things simultaneously happen. So like there's that theory or that conspiracy thought that this is a distraction from, to ignore another agenda. But this could be just the world going to shit simultaneously at the same time here. We got, we have to look at all these other things. And also, even though there's 4 objects, are all those objects from the same people? Are all those objects the same objects? Can all those objects be retrieved? There's still a lot of information that we don't have, and we're generalizing it because as experiencers, we want to believe, okay, quoting X-Files here, we want to believe that those are extraterrestrials, those are aliens, because we're experiencing some things. And so just be careful when our thoughts go there, that we don't have that information. And just because that's happening now, that doesn't mean what you're experiencing is related to that. I still strongly believe that this UFO problem with America is secret technology to protect against a bigger threat that we need to know about. I do not believe, with the evidence that I'm looking at, that it's associated with the extraterrestrial and interdimensional phenomenon that we're also experiencing. But I also could be wrong. I don't know. So try not to read into the fear, but at the same time, what can we do? We're about to go into, Starship Troopers is about to happening right now. I don't know. All right, so what do we got here? Lisa says, I believe the aliens are here. Not all UFOs are alien. A lot are man-made. Only a certain few care aliens. Well, if the aliens, extraterrestrials, are here, I'm saying aliens too. We should probably avoid saying that word. We should say extraterrestrials. If they're here, yes, but is that what we're experiencing right now in current affairs, current news? Are those their craft? There's a lot here, and if they're already here, I don't know. It's confusing right now. It's very confusing. Dan says there are so many agencies responding to this. It will be hard to cover up. Now that's important. Now, because Roswell happened, and then the next day was weather balloons. Okay, the information that we have around that, whether that's true or not true, and the conspiracies around that, that's been investigated, that's been documented, that's been pushed for the last 80 years to get information. But now here we are with a very similar story. These objects didn't crash. These objects were shot down. Debris can't be found. And there's an assumption or an accusation of privatized weather balloons. Does that mean that Roswell was a weather balloon and was misidentified? Or does that mean they're covering it up the same way they covered up Roswell based on what we believe? But we don't have enough evidence to defer or to confirm either of these scenarios. But there is some sort of pattern repeating. And with a lot of agencies responding to this as well, news agencies, something has to happen, whether it's done deliberately or on purpose. Deliberately or accidental or rare. We don't know why it's happening on this level. But even if they know why it's happened and it was planned, what's happening next is what we need to pay attention to, because the evidence shows that there's not enough technology to catch these things, or there is a problem with this technology to allow these things in, even if that's foreign countries. So we have to change things. And if that was done as a ruse in order to justify the spending to keep it safe, then fine. But I don't understand why they can't just spend the money on it anyways. But I guess you got to look at the tax dollars, and you got to convince the people to spend the money, to want to spend the money on those things, which is the reason why this fear tactic comes in. But maybe it's not something we should be fearful of. Maybe it's just something that happened. Our governments caught on to it. Our governments worked together. They took it down. They saved the day. There's our Independence Day. It's a mess. It's definitely a mess. All right, Angela says, we have entered the Jelly Nebula, arrival in 20 days. Jellyfish Nebula is real. It is in Gemini, just beyond Orion. Then the weekend, the young woman that looks like my daughter is on my room. So I'm a little bit out of the loop with this Jelly Nebula, Angela. So I'm going to have to do some research on that. Jellyfish Nebula. So it is in Gemini, just beyond Orion. So are you referring to a star cluster in the constellation? Is that what I'm understanding? Cool. This weekend, the young woman that looks like my daughter is on, probably met in my room. So I have to look at your cases too. I haven't got to your reports though, so you're still having experiences. Dan Jones says they reported a cylinder shape and an octagon shape the size of a small car, with no obvious propulsion system. How is it afloat? Okay, so that was a preliminary report. Again, have to look at new reports because there's been new evidence since Biden came with his press release today. And those are a combination of reports on many different, 4 different sightings or 4 different events. So there's a lot of mix matching stuff right now, and I'm not entirely sure if this no obvious propulsion system is a key piece of